Hey everybody, this is Overpass Live. My name is Eric and I make apps. Sorry I'm a little bit late today. I was setting everything up and I was just trying to make sure everything was right, and I wanted to look up this article that was sent to me just so we have something to talk about. So first of all, can you guys hear me okay? I just want to make sure everybody can hear me okay. All right, everybody who's joined. No, there was no starting music. See, there you go. Already I messed up. So sorry about that, Rodrigo. No, well, I actually say every week I try to do something different. This last couple weeks I've been playing around with the green screen, doing it from my room, but now I've kind of moved out into the living room so I could do it like a normal human being. Anyway, so did I say the thing? This is Overpass Live. My name is Eric. I make apps. This is our weekly live stream where we talk about whatever we want to talk about. No preparation, no nothing, right? So, and for me this week, it's been just another week in lockdown, and it's amazing how quick the weeks are going now. That first week in lockdown was like, it felt like it was a month. It was like, God, can you believe it hasn't even been a weekend yet? While we had to stay home, and now it feels like they're just flying by. It's like, it feels like we just had the live stream. So I suppose that's good, right? We just wait for all to level off and level the curve and everything like that. So first of all, Mega Man is first. Hey, Mega Man, how are you? Adam Majors here. Hey, Adam. Phil is fourth, although there was no third, but I think you were anticipating. Chris Bala, Overpass Lives needs another week in books. In the books. Woohoo! Yeah, another week done. Another week closer to the grave. So you guys can hear me. Well, first of all, make sure you guys can hear me. Okay, audio's good. Cool. So I'm using the old microphone. We're good. Rodrigo just gives a wave. Hey, Rodrigo. Yeah, no starting music. I didn't realize there wasn't any starting music. Yes. Right, so we're doing everything, like I said, in my living room. So basically, well, I won't go into the reasons why, but there's been some reshuffles around, so we don't really know. So, Appavelli, thank you. So he sent me a really cool article on Instagram this week, and I was going to do it for the live stream today, but I think I might wait for a video this week. I hope you're okay with that, Appavelli. Also, Appavelli has a podcast. Sorry, I hope you don't mind me saying it. I'm calling you out. And he started a YouTube channel too, so check that out. And he's also got Appavelli on the wire, or The Wire with On the Wire with Appavelli. Sorry, I forgot it, but I was listening to some of that earlier this week. It was really good. So, good to see you. Today got a really nice green screen. Yeah, this is my flat. This is like my bachelor pad, the way that I always wanted it to look. Well, kind of, Let's see, audio's good. Just picking a bit of fan noise, not too distracting. Yeah, this is my old Mac. Hey, Liam's here. Hey, everybody. TGIF. Yeah. Happy Friday. Not that it makes much difference. I know they're exactly the same, aren't they? It's like, but it's funny because I know tomorrow I probably will just, well, actually, no, I need to get some work done. Right? I think this is one thing this week where I think I'm starting to snap out of my malaise. Right? I did a video on Monday talking about how during lockdown I wish I could say I was productive, but I'm not. So I feel like I'm kind of starting to get more productive, which is good. Today has just been a day, well, there's just been so many meetings this week. I mean, I have an engagement from Tuesday to Thursday, which I'm working for a client. But then on Mondays, that means Mondays and Fridays are full of meetings. So we just got go to this thing, that thing, and everything. So yeah. Mark, hey Mark, how's it going? Sounds good. Stay safe. Thanks. Ron Deere, hey, how's it going? Wired in with Appavelli. That's all right. That's his podcast. And Bart Rock is here. So anyway, so this week, not a whole lot has happened for me. It's just been kind of, it's difficult to say like when you don't leave the house. I've had a few client meetings, which was good. I keep having these prospect meetings where I'm kind of talking them out of the app. So, and this is something. I mean, I'm not under NDA, but I'm not going to give the idea. But basically, somebody wanted an app, but he only has like 6 or 7 users. So, and it was going to be like really expensive to do it as an app. So, in the end, I'm trying to talk him out of not doing an app and do something on, Google Sheets or something like that because it's such a small user base. That's the kind of stuff I do, right? I just talk myself out of jobs, which is, not great for me as a business person, but as a professional, as somebody who takes pride in your, like if you take pride in your work, you don't want to do something for somebody they don't need and everything like that. That was probably the only interesting thing. And I've been, what have I been doing? Got a couple videos done, working, doing Xamarin. I've been doing a lot of Xamarin work, and I need to get into Flutter. I need to get some Flutter work done, because the Xamarin side's going all in one way. And if Fist007 shows up, he's the big proponent of it here too. Hello, I'm from Sudan and always watching your videos. I want to thank you. Hey, thanks, Ahmed. I really appreciate it. Thanks. I really appreciate it. WW. I don't understand. So let me just ask a quick question about the names. Did you have like 2 first initials and 2 second initials? Or are we supposed to pronounce it like, ow? Hi, Eric. How's your app business been during the crisis? I heard a lot of the businesses suffer during the crisis, except Amazon. They made billions. My client business has suffered. I've gotten a few prospects through, but it is like tumbleweeds going by, right? Where there's nobody right now is thinking, you know what, I need to come out with an app. Now I could do like all the motivational speakers out there are doing and say, now's the time you need to think about doing an app. But but I haven't been doing that. I've just been, I think I've just been doing like a lot of people. They're just getting on with the work. This is the time to learn new skills. This is the time to work on the stuff that you need to work on. Although there's a lot that just doesn't feel like it. So one of the things that I've been talking to my team about was like, we need to say, and this is not like we should be doing more apps, but I'm also thinking we should do more social media. We need to get, like every so often, you hear all the people talk about TikTok, and I think we need to do TikTok, and everybody rolls their eyes and says we're not going to, you don't need to do TikTok. But like that's because you see all the Gary Vaynerchuk and all them talk about it, and then I think, maybe we should do TikTok, and then I go onto TikTok and think, what the hell is this? But that kind of stuff. And so I was talking to Rowena, like it was last week on my team, because she does a lot of the Instagram stuff, and I said, do you think we could put out more Instagram messages? And she says, in the pandemic, we don't really want to be putting out too much, motivational, happy stuff, because people are worried, they're sick, they're at home, all that kind of stuff. So that does kind of put a damper on that kind of stuff. But I definitely need to get the apps done. I need to get back into the app stuff. I need to get some stuff out there, like of my own, right? If nothing else is coming in, like client-wise, and this is the perfect time to dust everything off. Now, it doesn't help that Google is being crazy with suspensions and everything like that. So everything's getting suspended, and Apple is also just difficult. Yeah, well, at least they were a couple years ago. Although I needed, so one of the things that's been on my to-do list forever. All right, I'm going to commit. Nah, actually, should I? Okay, yeah, I'll commit to it. I want to get at least one app on the Huawei store by next week, right? Because I've been saying for like a year and a half. Yeah, I need to check out the Huawei store. Like the same way, like I say, I need to start doing sit-ups or whatever. I've been saying I need to check it out. So that's something I'm going to do. Any of you guys on the Huawei store? And I have been working out, but so I do have like weights in my room. I have weights in my room, but it's I've only worked out once this week. Mbutha Samson says, thank you, Eric, for always being there to guide us indie developers. Keep it up. Well, you don't need anybody there to guide you through it. I think the hard bit, and this is what I was talking about on my video on Tuesday, I was kind of alluding to a little bit, saying how when you get into that ditch of debugging, just like that thing, and a lot of people were saying, I could help you solve it, Eric, which was nice, but like in the end, you get better as a developer by solving these things yourself, and it was one of those kind of things where there was no feedback, there was no the troubleshooting was, I've exhausted all debugging options, and I'm just basically going through, remove this, remove that, remove this, change this to that, change this to this. And what it was, some of you guys might appreciate this, was on push notifications, you have to, you get the push, on the iOS side, you get a push token ID, and you, so like if you want to link that with a user, you have to wait for the user to actually register or log in. So you hold on to that push token, and then when the user registers, then you submit the token to your own server, so that way you can link the user account with the actual push ID of the phone, right? And it was working for for years, but Apple changed their format of the push IDs for iOS 13, and I was still storing it, but I was storing it as a string. So I was storing it locally as a string, and and then I thought, then I went on some other rabbit hole where people said, no, you need to move this, and then just like. And in the end, all I had to do was save it as because it was coming in as a bit array. So I was taking a bit array and using toString and storing it, which was just, in retrospect, very naive, but it was just kind of one of these things. But the thing about the reason I'm bringing this up for indie developers is that if it was my own application, part of me suspects I may have put it aside. Right? I may have been like, I'll come back to that, because I've got projects like that where I'm just like, you run into one little snag and you're like, you keep with it, but then you get to the point where you're like, I'll look at this later. I'll look at this tomorrow with fresh eyes or whatever. You keep putting it off, but when you're working for somebody else, you're accountable. You're like, I have to get this done. Like I will bang at these gates until they give. Right? I am going to find the end. And in the end, you tear through all the code, you remove everything, you like, and I talked about the different stages where you're like, there's that one voice in that one point where you're thinking, I don't think this ever worked. And then, so I went to the user saying, is it possible this never worked? And they're like, well, nobody's ever complained. And I'm going, yeah, but I've had bugs where nobody's complained about them before. Anyway, but Booth, you're great. I'm an Android developer. Cool. Rodrigo says, you are an honest person and that's your problem. I know. I wish I could be more of a. All right. No, that sounds like a humble brag. I know I'm too nice. I'm just too nice, right? But no, it is. Sometimes it can get in the way. Sometimes you're like, it really does. Like you kind of beat yourself up about it. Like you're thinking, if I could just be a little bit more ruthless. There was an '80s movie called Ruthless People with, I think, Danny DeVito and Judge Reinhold. And it was kind of like about that. They were too nice, and then they had to learn to become ruthless. And sometimes I wonder whether or not that holds me back, right? Because I'm like, you also got to be honest and everything. And I think that's the one of the things about if you do your own work, if you do your own applications, that's not really an issue, right? You can be as nice as you want to be, right? Yeah, there's always going to be people who try to take things away from you, so you always have to be wary of that, right? I was okay. All right, here's something this week. I ended up one morning. I woke up in a mood, and I started thinking about Overpass. So I have the overpass.co.uk. I did get the .com domain like back in 2003 or whatever when I got the .co.uk, and it was like I probably could have bought it. I mean, it wasn't available, but like the company that had it didn't. And it was like, it kept changing hands. It was some rubbish website. And now it's like some I think it's a call center, but an offshoring type of thing. Very, a little bit too similar to mine. And I think, it's kind of weird that they're Overpass and, I've had the name for longer and it's such a similar thing. And then I started thinking about EarSpy, and EarSpy was one where, you put something out there and somebody's always trying to take your spot from you, and, all the EarSpy clones out there. And I think I was just getting a bit depressed about it, but that's just the way it is, right? We have to be able to create faster than we can be copied. We have to create faster than people could take things from us. I don't know why I was thinking about that this week, but Ruben says, I talk myself out of work too because I'm too nice. I know, it's like if somebody, like, this is it. Okay, so like somebody comes to you and says, Eric, we really need a database for our salespeople to go out into the field. They need to be able to track their sales. We need to have like a central place to keep it. Right now, they're putting everything on pen and paper, and they're coming back, and we got the admin stuff, and it's just too difficult. We want to get an app done, and then so you start quoting for it. You think a custom application, and that's not so bad. But then they say they only have like 4 salespeople, right? And then you're like, if you thought about just a Google form which connects to a Google sheet, and then that way at least you could get up and running, and like it's almost like you've gone from trying to sell them a project to just like solve their problem, and a lot of times it's putting yourself in their shoes, which I guess is good. And for me, Ruben, when like somebody comes to me because they seen a video and they think I like that guy, I trust him, then I can't like let him down. I can't do that. I told the story about how it was I think it was January, where somebody came to me and they were like, it was a startup and they needed like something, and I think I quoted 20 to 30,000, and we're kind of like, that's like a ballpark we were talking about, right? And they were like, oh, they were like really, nervous about it, and they had to take out a loan and everything. And when I sat down with them, I thought, you guys should have, like, when we started talking, like, you guys should be using Shopify, like it was Shopify for this, or you should be using this, and this. Have you even looked at these options? Of course, they didn't know about it because they didn't, so they could have gone down a very expensive route. But I was, I did it, but it was that voice in the back of my head, like thinking, I need to pay everybody. We need new projects in. We need all that stuff, and I hated the thought of it. I hated the fact that the doubt was even there. So I think ultimately it's a good thing. I wouldn't want to be any other way. Marandir says, Flutter, Dart side always wins. Darts, welcome to the Dart side, etc. Yeah, this is yeah. I've been doing Xamarin. One of the things that Xamarin has is hot reload, which is somewhat new. And the IDE I'm using, I'm not using Visual Studio for Mac. I'm using Writer, which is a JetBrains tool. Although I kind of switch between them, but they do have hot reload, but it doesn't maintain the state of the hot reload. So a lot of times it will go through the constructor of the view model, and it would just crash when it tries to hot reload, which is more trouble than it's actually worth. But yeah, I mean, that's it. Phil says, have you or anyone on the channel picked up any lockdown hobbies? I don't think I have. Yeah, I don't think I have. I mean, I've been, yeah, I think I've been doing online dating and stuff like that, which has been kind of fun. But not really. I think that's the only thing that's new. Ahmed says, I want to ask, what is the best apps makes a good revenue? God, if I knew the answer to that, then, well, I mean, okay, so in general terms, I think it depends on you. So when you ask me, I'm not really a gamer. Like I'm still like, I don't quite understand why people buy skins for characters in a game, because I'm not a gamer. So it's like very difficult for me to know. I do know that using something with subscriptions based, or a utility app with subscriptions, and something that you could actually provide value for. I mean, years ago when I first started out, I read something about utility apps versus games. And utility apps, if you have something that actually increases the value of a phone, then that's far more valuable to somebody than a game. But it all depends on the age brackets. So for me, I still go by that logic. I don't know what the statistics say at the moment, but I still go for utilities. That's still my method of thinking. Oh, by the way, if you have not smashed that like button, smash the like button. Let's see. Umbutha says, hi Eric, if you have an app with a list that has 28 activities in a view, after how many activities should you place an interstitial ad before you place another one? As many as you can, right? There's going to be this, I mean, so if you have 28 activities, so I assume you go from all of them in a linear fashion from one to the other. It depends on how long I think it would depend on how long the interstitials are, and yeah, you don't want. What I would do is if you're using Admob, I would use Admob to limit it based on like 1 or 2 per minute, but try to do it as frequently as you can, but not so much that it ruins the experience, which is like really hard to say. It's like television. If so I've lived in the UK for next month it'll be 22 years, and a lot of times I watch BBC, there's no ads, or I'll watch the commercial stations and there are ads, but nowhere near in the States. Every time I go back to the States, I'm surprised at how many ads there are. The ad breaks seem to be increasing, especially like on news programs and stuff. More and more ad breaks, but they get away with it, right? If a television show is good enough, they can have more ads, they make more revenue, but it's that balance, right? It's if they have too many, then it's not worth actually doing. So what I would do is experiment with it, right? I wouldn't say there's a hard and fast number, but I don't think you should show more than 2 in a minute. So Let me know if the rest of you guys disagree with it. By the way, this is just my opinion, right? I think, by the way, no, and you might say, I don't want to ruin the experience of my users. I don't like ads. Nobody likes ads. Nobody wants ads in their application. And if you do like ads, then I think there's something wrong. Rodrigo says, next week you commit to doing Amazon affiliates. I know I need to do Amazon affiliates. I'm so tired of filling in those forms. I keep doing Amazon affiliates, and then I don't put them on the videos. I don't do anything like that, and then they go away. But yeah, you're right. So, any personal projects, Eric? None. No, it's one that I need to have something. I've got. No, I don't have anything personal on at the moment. I think, I've been trying to do more videos this week. I think that's kind of one of the things I'm doing. I want to get better at doing the videos a bit, but I need to get some more apps out there, right? I don't want to be a guy who does videos about how I used to make apps. I need to get back out there and do it. And a lot of it is just getting over the lethargy of just being in lockdown. It's like it's all in the head. Like, I'm not ill. I'm just like, oh, it's lockdown. Oh, what are we gonna do during lockdown, right? I've got a job, I've got stuff to do, but it's this malaise that seems, and it's not just me. It seems like a lot of people seem to be feeling it. But yeah, I don't have any, but I need to get one. I think so. In terms of this, so Bart, to give you so there was one idea that I had a month ago, which was, I may have mentioned on the live stream, which is to have I see so many subliminal audio things out there. I thought it would be nice to do an app where you could create your own subliminal one. So you have two audio streams, one where you either have machine text to speech, where you type it in and it would put it as like a whatever, and then you would have two audio levels, so you can have your background music and your foreground subliminal music, and you or record it yourself and do that, and then you could store that, and then you could share it to YouTube or whatever. And I thought that would be a good idea. And that was one of those kind of things where I thought after years, I thought, I'm really thinking, would Google suspend that, because it's kind of airy-fairy and we don't really know if that stuff actually works or anything like that. But that was one thing I was thinking about. And every so often I'll pick it up and do it. But it's one of those ones where I kind of know I'm not going to do it. So I guess why I'm talking about it now. It's like, by the way, I live on a busy intersection. If you guys hear sirens go by, that's what that is. I mean, they're not coming after me. Although that would be the best live stream if they did. If they busted in and they arrested me for drug trafficking. I don't know. You can't take me, man. You got nothing. You can't prove nothing. It's my word against yours. I don't know. I got a box set of Miami Vice, but no DVD player. But if I did have the DVD player, I'd probably be watching that now. AWW says, that's just my initials. I put double letters in them. I'm too lazy to change it. So is your name Alan Weber? Is it Aaron Wroolie? Is it Alan Wroolie? Are you my cousin? Most people see the W, they don't think Wroolie. Amazon affiliate fees are supposedly getting crammed down. Yeah, that's right. I read about that. I mean, the Amazon affiliates are complaining because it went down for some things, went from 8% commission down to 3% commission, and is devastating a lot of businesses, which comes at a really tough time considering so much else of the economy is just going haywire, but it's kind of like it's a strange model anyway, the whole affiliate thing. And that's kind of one of the things I've always thought. When I see influencers and stuff complain about losing the revenue, you're thinking, yeah, but you had a pretty cush job. You had a really good run there. And that's one of the things I'm always afraid of. I went to YouTube a few years ago to talk with a consultant because when the channel was doing well, and they gave me advice on things I should do to improve the channel. And she said, I think this could be your full-time income eventually. And I thought that would be nice, but it just doesn't seem like it. I actually like really making things, actually having an actual thing to do, and then the videos are fun. But Ahmed says, do you know spy tools to know what your competitors do? You mean what they do? There are, if you look at like Sensor Tower, they do have spy on your competitors, ASO and stuff like that. However, it's all derivative. I mean, they don't have any insider knowledge. It's basically scraping other pages, and so they can see what those keywords are that they're ranking well for. I think if you know who your competitors are, I think you could easily find out how they're ranking for stuff using stuff like App Annie, and then you can look at what I would do if I was going to look at competitors. Personally, I would look at what they're doing, how many reviews they have, how many backlinks they have, how many times the keywords are being mentioned in their descriptions and in their reviews. And yeah, that would be the kind of stuff that I would look at if you were actually doing it in terms of your actual application. But again, by the way, when I talk about anything, anybody feel free to chime in there and say, Eric, you're so full of it. I don't think that's true. So, Appavelli says, do you think people will get used to the new normal and want to work from home? You know what? So, yeah. So that was the thing about the Appavelli. You sent me that article where you said that one thing about developers is we're kind of like, the strange thing about developers is most of us are already geared to work from home. And like a lot of us who didn't work from home wanted to work from home anyway, but we worked in an office where they wouldn't let us, and now everybody's working from home. And I can't stand it when people complain about working from home. They go, I just like this social interaction. And as developers, social interaction is like, I'm just making small talk. We're like, I just need to sit down and focus on this, which is like why sometimes you'll hear me complain about. You hear me complain about the amount of meetings that I have because I'm not sitting down and actually do something. And a lot of times I'll be in a meeting and I'll think, if I just have the time to sit down and look at this, I'm sure I could do this. And then the time just goes. But yeah, I think maybe office buildings will be a thing of the past. Maybe. And, it depends on how long this thing goes, I think. This week in the UK where they're talking about it could go on. Pubs and public events could go till the end of the year. At least that's what they said in Scotland. And just like every day, it's like don't watch the news because it's just bad news. And even when there's like a glimmer of hope, like somebody will come and say, "Yeah, but there's no, it's not likely to happen." Hey, James is there. James, I've got this. I got that article you sent me up, so we might have a look at that. Otherwise, I might do a video about it. That was the Ionic report that you sent through. Thank you so much for that. Mass App, is that Massachusetts app? Mass App says, what happened to your EarSpy app? So the EarSpy app, it's still on iOS, but it hasn't been updated in a long time. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it gets removed just because it hasn't been updated. But on the Google side, it kept getting removed. It kept getting suspended. So the first time it got suspended, no, there was new guidelines that came out that said, the spy, you shouldn't use the word spy if you use analytics or whatever. So I changed it to ear agent, which was just a dumb name. It sounded like a medicine, something you put on your ears. So then there was that. And by the way, the copycats thing, if I change my name, they change their name. There was ear agent spy, ear agent prank, ear spy prank, ear agent spy. Like there's all of them out there. And then it got suspended again. This time because they said I put some people use it as a hearing aid and said, well, it's not a hearing aid. You can't claim that, right? So I thought, okay, well, it's just that was metadata. That was nothing to do with the application. So I said, so I appealed it. They rejected the appeal, and then I appealed it again, and the second appeal they actually did. They said, okay, they did move it to remove state. I made it the changes, and then did it again, and then it got suspended again, and it's not suspended because I changed everything. I changed the icon. I changed everything else, right? I changed the name from ear agent to whatever. I've changed everything about it, and then it's this constant suspension, appeal, suspension. And I said, okay, we'll let you go through. As more the algorithm, and I still think maybe I should go back and do it, but there's the thing that really eats away at me is all the people out there who are just. Okay, I'm trying to be positive about this. right? But there's a lot of people out there who just released the same thing. I mean, reskinning was a thing. I mean, Flappy Birds, the guy who did Flappy Birds, as soon as he removed it from the store, everybody was doing their Flappy Birds clone, right? It was just, yeah, there's a lot of people out there who lack any creativity at all, right? So, and again, by the way, the concept of it, I don't mind, like being able to hear better and have an equalizer. That was, I didn't even mind about that. It was more stealing the name, the colors, making the icon look similar, stealing the description, everything. It was just kind of putting stuff out there, and part of me just felt like maybe I'm just being an idiot because I put videos out where I talk about it. So maybe I'm just inviting this myself. But I think a lot of people have those kind of issues. Welcome Hell. Isn't it supposed to be Welcome Hell? What do you think about Kotlin? Maybe it's time to learn it because the future of new libraries won't support Java. I think, yeah, if you were only going to do native, it seems like they want you to move to Kotlin, right? It seems like that is something I think is very possible, right? Well, they'll say, okay, starting in Android. What would it be? Starting on Android S, whatever, like a few years from now, we're not going to support Java anymore. Or, although it is compiled, right? So, how you get there should, even like something like Xamarin or Flutter, you're basically talking about the binaries in the end. But yeah, in terms of the library support, that's a very good point. I can remember when .NET came out, there was C# and VB.NET. And VB.NET just sort of faded away, right? People still kind of used it, but all examples after a while were in C#, right? There was, nobody did anything else. So, oops. Oh, sorry about that. Good. So yeah, that's very much. Yeah, if you were gonna do that, so you're learning it. That's cool, though. But the same token, you could be using older libraries that knowing Java would really be helpful. It's not coronavirus. Let's see. Question: can you disable ads for certain duration, like monthly or yearly sub? Oh, you mean like? Yeah, you should be able to. You could do it through code. Sorry, just a second. Just had to get a drink of water. But yeah, you should be able to. You should be able to do it through code. You programmatically do it. You can probably do it through, if you do it across the board, you can do it through Admob too. I think. And Butha says, I use the same template to produce different apps, but with different content. Will that get me in trouble with Google Play? It's not the virus. It's just a bit of a dry throat. Nothing, nobody figure out. No. Well, yeah, possibly. There's a repetitive content policy. It will get you through Apple. They will give you trouble, which is a problem that I faced. Apple Guideline 4.3, but Google has a repetitive content policy. Now, I have not had an issue with that so far, so I don't know how well it's enforced, right? I think I've heard of a few people who have gotten strikes about that, but it could do. So I would try to make it look as distinct as possible. And if you have to, be ready to, like when you're code it in a way that if you had to do a container app at some point, you could. Hey, Yo Code Funk says, anyone ever done any server apps with Dart? And I haven't, but I've talked to a lot of people who've done like HTML apps, but no, I haven't. No new video on app revenue. It's really low at the moment. I'll share you with my app revenue. Let's have a look at my daily revenue report. Let's do that because I haven't done that in a while. By the way, I'm just being honest with you guys, right? This is going to be embarrassing, right? I'm going to wince. You might even see some tears when I show you guys my app revenue right now because we had the Google Play the entire account suspended, and we're slowly going back through and reenacting some of these apps. And one of the reasons we don't is because we go through and we're re-enabling the apps, trying to remember which ones were actually enabled to begin with. But so, all right, Mass App, I'm going to show you my revenue here. I'm going to show my screen here in a second. Please be patient. And this is the one when I talk about my daily revenue report. And this, one of the things Mass App I want to do is this is not because it's really hard, because to use my account with the suspension that happened just weeks before the pandemic, I don't want you to think that this is because it's a trend in the market. I just want to tell you, like, just honestly how I'm doing. Sorry, let me just somebody's trying to phone me from the States. It's a salesperson. Okay, so I downloaded a trial for some Xamarin tools, and they keep trying to phone me to check on it. I said, I just want to make sure everything's going okay with that trial. I'm like, yeah, if you just leave me alone. I think that's who it is. Somebody from the States. All right, so let me show my screen. So here's my daily revenue for April. So yeah, my daily revenue is like 23, 30 pounds. I mean, I know some people might say, actually, that's not bad, but it's not great either. I mean, it's so if I go back a few months, let's go to January. I mean, actually, for the whole year, it's been just so yeah, about the same. 20 to 30 pounds. If I go back to, let's go to my daily revenue for, you guys can see my screen, right? For last year, and again, we got this going back until we got daily revenue reports going all the way back to, I think, 2016. So, no. Okay, let me go. Hang on, let me bring that report up first. Daily revenue. Okay. So if I show you Mass App, it doesn't mean that's because Google Play is going down in revenue. Because I've talked to other developers, they're doing much better than they were before. I mean, mainly because of their own actions, not because of the market trend. Right now, it seems like things are lower because ad revenue is lower. But let's go to, so if this goes to January to, so I did a pivot table. So if we look at August of last year, gotta really put my thing on Do Not Disturb, which, apologies, I didn't do that before we started. So if we go back to August of last year, for example, the good old days, when we were allowed to go outside, there was no pandemic. Oh, wait for this thing to load. All right, so yeah, here it was a little bit higher, 35, 40, whatever. You see Admob was mostly what was coming through. And again, that was in the middle of a suspension too. It's like over the last year or two, I go from suspended to reenacted to suspended again on my big applications. So so it has been sort of a gradually going down. Now that doesn't mean that one of the reasons I haven't done a report, aside from just sheer embarrassment, okay, so if we look at like last April, that's when everything was kind of going on like about 100 pounds a day. So if we go back to 2017, we're like 150, 200 pounds a day. But it was mainly the suspensions. It was the suspensions that really did it, and the other apps kind of picking up. But there's always been like that trickle. So that trickle is there, and if you do get a point where you have an app that is making some money, you know that you struck a water vein, or you struck gold. You just have to keep figuring out, how do I maximize that. The thing about the app stores, and again, I think one of the reasons why I don't like to, I don't want somebody to say, oh, I don't want to bother, there's no reason starting, because like, no, screw that. You gotta, I don't want it to be an excuse not to do something. If you want to do something else besides app, then that's fine. But it's sitting on the sidelines the whole time. There's nothing great about it. But that's where I am about that. So, Cord Fug says your blank walls are stressing me out. That's like, I've heard that the second time this week. I think it's all right. Okay, I'm at that point because this is my new bachelor pad. I'm thinking, should I try to put up something grown up? Should I put up like a Star Trek poster because it's my place and just but then or should I I'm trying to think. Do I go like the way my room looked when I was 17, or do I go, or do I try to be adult? But I do have like a painting up over there, which is, that's kind of classy. Or part of me wants to have like a flat that's like, what I think, like, you ever seen the movie Boomerang? Boomerang with Eddie Murphy and all that stuff. So I wanted something like there's jazz music playing in the background, lots of plants, just kind of a thing. It's a cool vibe. So if I have somebody over, come on in. That was way creepier than I thought it was going to be. Blank walls. Okay. Ahmed says, keep going. Thank you very much. All right. Stay safe. Oh, thanks. Sophia is here. How goes the house rules? All right. So last time, Sophia, every time I talked to you, I think it was Fist 007 was getting annoyed. But yeah, things are going good. Things are going fine. I'm just, I haven't left. Today was the first time I went out in all week. I just went for a 20-minute walk in the sunshine. But yeah, things are going well. I mean, one of the things about this pandemic, which I think it's hard to watch a pandemic or on the news where people are queuing at food lines. People are really suffering, or they have loved ones who are ill or dying or whatever, and you're thinking, this pandemic isn't so bad. But in reality, but then you're thinking, as things go, we have fast internet. We could watch any movie practically. I could download any book. I could listen to any song through streaming services. Amazon is still there. I can order whatever I want. But it would be nice to have human interaction actually. So, does Overpass offer scholarships for uni freshmen? No, I think we may. Abdul Nasser. I appreciate the question, but I think you might think Overpass is a bit bigger than it actually is. So no, but hopefully one day that would be nice. Sophia says, "When's your parole?" Singapore just extended lockdown to June. I think we just got extended for another 3 weeks. I mean, yeah, it's difficult. I hear a lot of opinions about what's going on in the States, and it's really difficult because I can see, like, when they said they're going to open up, was it Georgia or was it North Carolina? I can't remember, but it's like they're opening up too soon. Part of it is like, see how that goes, but we just have to do what we do. It's one of those things where you think there's nobody to blame. We just have to wait for this virus for a vaccine or something, but it would be nice if we had some clear guidelines of what's going to happen. The thing is, nobody knows. It just seems like everybody's just like, let's wait and see. So yeah, right now we don't really have any idea. I think it's just sort of a reevaluate. We got another 3 weeks. They said on the news this week it might be, pubs and public places might be closed for the rest of the year. Although it's just it's hard to imagine that, but it was hard to imagine the fact that we're in the situation that we are now, where everything's shut down, right? This is like so I guess we've been in lockdown for just over a month. No, yeah, over a month, nearly 5 weeks. And this is like the longest I haven't been to McDonald's in I don't know how long. So that's a benefit, right? I just every so often I'm just like, because I'm I'll work out, I'll try to be healthy, I'll be motivated, and then it's like, but it's just I don't have a lot of time. I just nip it there. So at least that's something. But yeah, so far we don't know. Yeah, Amazon affiliates recently got slashed. Yeah, I know. Ashe says, "You are the best," and then he says, "You are the best again," and then "You are the best." Thank you very much, Ashe. Thank you and thank you. Ruben says, "For WFH, I miss our free drinks and lunch. Lol." WFH? What's what? WFH? Every time an acronym goes out, I feel like I should. Yeah, I hope it's not a computer acronym. What was it a couple weeks ago? Sophia said IRL, and I was like, "Isn't that I can't remember. I'm trying to think what that was. Is in real life, moron." So WFH is work for hire. Work for hire? Nah, that doesn't make sense. Ashe says you're the best. Okay, Ashe is okay. Sophia says working from home is not the problem. Not being able to leave is a problem. I know it's kind of a kind of a thing. I'm trying to be positive and optimistic about it. It's like it's so easy just to get down about it. And I'm trying not to watch the news so much. Although it's just fascinating. Yeah, you have to maybe they'll like you watch the news like they're gonna say, hey, guess what? Everybody can go outside today, right? But it's none of that's gonna happen. It's like everybody's and there's one thing you could tell the people who are used to like TV shows and stuff, they're used to a studio audience, and those who aren't, because those who don't have a studio audience and they're just like YouTubers, like they're doing fine, but like the like Conan O'Brien and all the late night talk shows, it's not so good when you don't have the laughing in the background. So Akshay, thank you. Lucas says, good afternoon, Eric. Hope you're doing well. Can't watch it right now, but I will after work. Keep going strong. Yeah, thank you. And Akshay. Are you spamming me, Akshay? Let's see. And I think so. Yeah, dude, stop. Okay. Heads up on upcoming Huawei Developer Day, April 30th. Cool, thanks. What does that mean, Developer Day? Is that like Google I/O? Are developing an Android app showing real-time coronavirus statistics, and Google suspended that app. Do you think it may come back if I send an appeal? I think, Ahmed, you said this I actually put this in my file to do a video about, but we might as well talk about it now. I think you should appeal regardless. Even if we appeal saying, look, if it's actually there to help people, but if you don't want it, that's fine. But you at least get that strike off your record, right? You weren't trying to do anything malicious or anything like that. I think you should appeal it. It might come back, right? If you could make the case, but I think they're trying to stop. I think this is the governments are trying to release corona tracker applications. Maybe they don't want to have to worry about ASO issues or something. I have no idea why, but I can understand. They don't want the app stores to be flooded with corona applications, but maybe they're going to reserve that for governments and stuff like that. I could kind of get it. Like, imagine if the government came out with a corona tracker application, which they've been working on and other governments have had it, but you got the top one, because everyone's accidentally going to yours instead. That would be awesome for you, but it would be difficult for the government. So but yeah, definitely appeal it because even if you appealed it and said, look, I want this off, I don't want to have this against my record. I did that for an application recently. Akshay, stop this BS, man. We're trying to pay attention. He sent freaking balloons. And Akshay said he's bored from quarantine. That's right, Akshay. We're all bored. Roman, hey Roman, hey Eric, some time ago you've mentioned a SaaS project idea. Was that completely unrelated to apps? Do you plan to work on it? It was unrelated to apps, but it was more like a small business idea. And it's one of these. It's whether or not do I spend my own time on it, which I don't have a lot. Do I hire somebody else to do it and watch them? If you hire somebody and they completely master your idea, then it's like terrible. But at the moment, I don't have plans to do it. Akshay says, have you tried out Flutter with any of your apps? How much time did it take for your app to hit the first million? No, I don't have a million download Flutter apps. My first app to hit 1 million, I think it was about 2 years, I think. Swift and Kotlin, FTW, says Sophia. Go for Games says, hi Eric, I hope you're doing great. I have an app which is ranking for terms like battery health at about 15 to 20 place, but I still can't get downloads. I'm getting about 5 a day. Any suggestion? Well, if battery health is not something people are searching on, then it doesn't matter how well you rank for it. But 15 to 20 is not very high. So let's have a look. Are we talking about Google Play? Let's have a look here. Oh, the app revenue. Oh, God. So, battery health. Oh, when I'm doing, this runs a bit slow when I do the screen sharing thing. So I'm looking. So obviously I'm in the UK, so I'm seeing the UK rankings. So yeah, I mean 15 to 20 is. I mean that's still not quite high enough. So yeah, well, there's a lot of battery images here. Here we go for game apps. So, 5 downloads a day, 37 reviews. Like your screenshots. Ooh, so you got some 1-star reviews there. Which I'm sure that's not helping. But again, so yeah, look at the so you're getting 5 downloads a day. You say 5 downloads a day, pretty much. Have a look at your user acquisition report on Google Play Console, because if people aren't even getting to the stage I just did, which is clicking on the icon and looking at the page view, then that's one thing. If they're actually clicking on that and not downloading, like if you can see the page views but you're not seeing that, then I would worry about those bad reviews and see if there's something you can do about them. I mean, you can't remove them obviously, but you could try to you have to either flood it with really good reviews and minimize them, or try to somehow say there's a new version coming out that fixes this issue, and just keep replying to it, and hopefully they'll change their review. Let's see. Enjoy this live stream. It's like Game of Thrones. Is that Game of Thrones? Yeah, I've never. I've never seen Game of Thrones. I've never seen it. Which is like. Not, yeah, because I read lots of Shakespeare and stuff here, and I don't think it was ever on where I could see it. So, and one of those things, I think maybe I might get into that at some point. I created a math app for first years, and then created a math app for second years. Then I created a math app for third years. Does that violate the spam policy? Is very likely it could. One of these things is. I think it would. It's on the Apple side. So for me and Butha, I had a similar thing with my language learning app. So we had the language learning app, the Bubble Bath games. So we did the framework, and we reskinned it, everything. Different music, different, the timing of the bubbles was different because the language was different. We had some of them featured romanization, some of them because like Chinese characters, for example, we'd include pinyin, or we'd pobo mobo for the Japanese or whatever. Is that right? No. So we would include all that stuff, and they were all completely different. But Apple just they said nope, they got to be one application, right? You have to have one language learning application, which I know Duolingo has a single application, but when you're focusing on search, then the fact that I had 22 different languages, it hurt me in terms of search, because I can only have one title, right? So whereas somebody who only did Chinese Mandarin would outrank me easily because they don't have all those other things. So it was penalizing me for something that was, I'm trying to actually deliver value to lots of people. And what gets me is, and it doesn't happen that often, but I'll get emails from people saying, hey, how come this isn't available anymore? Yeah, I bought this and it's no longer available. Can I get, or they'll want a refund for something that's been removed. And in that case, if it's something where I removed it, then sometimes well, on Apple you can't give refunds anyway, but like sometimes I'll give a refund. Sometimes I'll be like, to talk to Google, right? Yeah, it wasn't, that was not my thing. But yeah, you could do. Displate has awesome posters, high quality. Displate. Oh, okay. NWA Saba says, saw the red live button and came to say hi. Hey, how's it going? Let's see. You guys talking about Eric? By the way, they say how many apps are suspended on your account that you can't update. Just as a by the way, how many apps are on suspended on your account you can't update? I think 5. I think I have 5 of them. Yeah, I've got quite a few. A lot of them are removed. So that's what we're doing. We're going through the process of restoring some of the ones that were removed. All of them were removed after the suspension. So even though the suspension was appealed, a lot of them were removed. Now, some of them weren't even published, right? So it was like over time I removed some, put them on. So I think it's about 5 of them. So like you get 3 suspensions in short, like in a 6-month period, I think it is. But so it's been over the years. I've had like 5 of them. In fact, I can remember where they are. There was Alarm Spy, so the Ear Spy thing, but it was like a motion sensor alarm. I Spy, which was a camera, so using a web server in the phone, actually being able to connect to it through a browser, the IP address, it would take a picture and stream it back through the web server. Just to your thing. It was easy. It was an easy thing to implement, you would think, but the developers took ages on it, and I just ended up doing it myself. There was that one, and those ones I kind of got because they were creepy. Another one was a reskin of swing copters, and we did another spy theme one, spy copters, and that was just because it was like it was too similar to that one. So that was the only time I ever really just did purchase code and did a reskin. There was that one. Spanish Bubble Bath was suspended for some reason, and I got that one appealed returned. I got a one called Bengali Spy was suspended, but I got that one appealed because it had nothing to. It was a spy theme, but it had nothing to do with spying, so it was fine. So they accepted that appeal. And then the Ear Spy and Ear Spy, Ear Agent, and the Pro version, those have both been suspended. So there's been quite a few over the years. But yeah, my whole thing is. Appeal. If you get a suspension, don't freak out about it. Appeal it. A lot of times it's just the algorithm messing up. And if they reject your appeal again. Left Swift. But I use it so rarely. Every time I use it, they're breaking changes. I find Flutter Dart a little clunky. But more importantly, third-party tools tend to leave us in the lurch sometime down the road. Better to stick to the first-class languages. Well, that's a good. I mean, that's a really good point. But yeah, can we develop apps as a side hustle and a registered company while working for another company? Yeah, you could. I mean, yeah, a lot of people have a registered company on the side, right? I had a registered company on the side for a long time. Yeah. I mean, maybe it depends on the country you're in, but yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure you can. I mean, you can here. If Flutter goes, I would be surprised. One of my apps is written in Flutter or something like that. I think one of the things is it's not so much the Flutter, the framework, it's the third-party stuff. Like if you use Cordova, I mean Ionic and Cordova, is one of the things I'm always worried about is the third-party. The GitHub Cordova plugins, like, because those sometimes are not updated, but it's like somebody who is nice enough to create something that does a Bluetooth connector, for example, and then over the years he's like, you know what, screw this, I don't want to work on this anymore, I want to do something else, and then he doesn't maintain it anymore, and then if you ever see like the forums or the issues, some people are very rude. For these people who took their own time to build something for free that everybody can use, and they're like, this doesn't work, you need to do something about this. And I don't know, if it were me, I'd be kind of like, screw that. But I agree with Sophia on first-party languages. Long term, you're better off with Kotlin, Java, or Swift Objective-C. I think you're probably, that's one, every time that Google I/O comes out, or AW, what the Web Developer Concept, the Apple Web Developer Conference. That's right. God, what am I doing? Yeah, that's what it's called. And they announce some new features. It's the first-class language is going to take advantage of them first, and hopefully other things will do it. So yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong doing a first-class language. It's just the duplication of the logic. And I know some people say, look, if you're going to do it right, do it native on both sides. And I'm like, well, if I had all the time in the world and all the money in the world, I would do both. But I don't. But yeah, that's a very good point, Chris and Sophia. Thanks for your transparency. Oh yeah, my ad revenue. Oh my God. Nobody send me money. I'm doing fine. I remember seeing once on some TV show where this guy, he got his paycheck out and he was looking at it, and somebody came up to like a homeless guy, goes, "Can I borrow $1?" Oh, never mind. But no, that's because I still have other revenue. But like it's just fallen, and it also seems conceited because some people aren't making nearly that much each day, but it's just so much lower than it was before. Apple Valley said, "Would you watch a baseball game with no fans in the stadium?" I've been thinking about that because they've been talking about that, haven't they? Apple Valley. They've been talking about having sporting events with no fans, and I don't know. It would be strange because the fans and the shared experience does help a lot, right? When you go to a sporting event, it's not so much you're cheering for those guys, although kind of you're cheering for your community and the fans, and it's like that's a big part of it is the fan interaction. I wonder how that would work. Like afterwards, they're hitting all these home runs into the stands, and then somebody just walks over afterwards and just collects them all, puts them back in the bag. I don't know if I would or not. I might watch one just to see what it's like, but I can't imagine it. Actually, I might not. I do have MLB TV, which I purchased for this year, and of course it hasn't started yet. But Swift and Plowin are both great, so easy to use. They run on the platform's very own IDEs. And remember when Google dropped Go as a first-class language? Oh. Yes, but Flutter is open source, and the community loves it. So even if Google drops it, the people will continue to use it. Have you ever, sorry, I'm just reading this conversation. Have you ever heard of the first cross-platform mobile development tool, MoSync? Is open source as well. Yeah, I mean, it's when you do something in a cross-platform tool, you're doing stuff that's on top of other things. I mean, Apple could easily, Apple could start. I mean, one of the things when I did that video about Ionic, I was afraid that they would start. Apple might start rejecting apps that are completely based in WebView, and boy, people just freaked out because it's like I insulted a member of their family. They said, how dare you just clickbait? You just clickbait. You don't even know what you're talking about. I was like, no, I said I like Ionic. But it was like people were just angry. But yeah, you can't go wrong with doing native. When you do a cross-platform framework, you are taking somewhat of a risk. But I agree with CordFutter. I think Flutter is a much better risk than anything else. I mean, at least it has Google's backing. But not Apple's. So that would be one thing that I would be a bit concerned about. But you have two linchpin dependencies that will turn years into weeks and weeks. At best, Google turns off the tap. Play Store is Google, and upkeep on Android levels. Moving targets. It's an interesting conversation here. Ahmed said, "Is there any way to add Admob ads to published app, and the app shows ads to pre-installed?" Hang on. Is there a way to add Admob ads to published app, and the app shows ads to pre-installed previously on their devices? Thanks. I don't know what that means. I'm having why am I not? The app shows ads to pre-installed previously on their devices. Oh, so you hang on. So you could show ads to people who previously had the app installed, but I don't know. I don't know the answer to that one. The knowledge mixture says, "Hello, so I'm late." Question one. Okay, we can't do so many questions this time. We gotta make sure everybody has a chance to ask something. But we'll ask it. Tell me about retain in Play Console. I was yesterday trying to that retain word, but giving me some resolution errors. Explain. You mean like user retention? I'm not quite sure what that means. Retain. Today you will see my app. Test your skills. Search it there with a red bulb icon. All right, let's go. All right. Test your skills. Now, is that the name of the application? So, and what is the developer name on it? Is it the Knowledge Mixture? Yeah, if you I don't see it here. If you tell me what the developer name is, that would probably be better. I was waiting for you, but due to problems, I'm late. That's right. Roman says, I was trying to work at home during quarantine, damaged my door frame and wall while installing a pull-up bar. I'm so afraid of that happening. I have a pull-up bar too, and every time, because it's a new flat, I start pulling up on it, and you hear that kind of crack. You think, God, I hope it's just settling. I hope it's just settling. That'll be so embarrassing if I'm like, I threw my back out. I got to explain to the landlord that I pulled the door frame off. Oh, wow. And now it's that third type of bar that I've ordered. Hopefully quarantine doesn't end before I'm able to do pull-ups at home. Hopefully it does. I've got a workout bench and the weights and everything. But let's see, Matthew. But yeah, I hope you're able to do some pull-ups. I hate pull-ups. That's one thing I don't do. I hardly use that pull-up bar. Right? The reason I do pull-ups is because when I go to the gym, it's part of my routine to do the pull-ups. But I can't. I could do 4 good ones and sit in 6 altogether. And I just hate like that last bit when you can't even like you're just when you're just dangling and you're like, it looks like you're just dangling, but you're really trying to pull up. And all these tough guys walking around, and you're like, anyway. So Matthew says, I changed my first app from Melt Calculator to Silver, Gold, Platinum Melt Calculator. Oh, cool. Do you want us to have a look at it? Let's see. Knowledge Preacher says, if import a class of any widget in Android, so tell me, will it occupy space? I mean, if it increases the size of the project. If you do an import, it's more like if you include the library with it. I don't think it would. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to like native Android technical questions, I might not be the best to ask. Leonel Fonseca says, is it did you change your name? The App Store ASO and app acceptance stance is already a pain, and I'm hearing from you guys, that's like an ongoing steady state risk that you almost need to hire people for. But I'm sure there's loads of people who will say they do it. So many times I've talked to ASO people, and it all promises. Well, they're not promises because they can't really promise anything. But they're just, I'm the expert, right? I can make your app the top. You have millions of downloads or whatever, but they can't do it for their own applications, and I never quite understood that. But there's lots of people out there who will say that they can help you, and maybe they could. You can always give them a try, but I've always been very suspicious about that kind of stuff. I was like this week. Okay, I was talking about social media. I did this week thinking about hire somebody in the Philippines for social media, so I did ask a few people saying, okay, are you, I'm thinking about hiring a social media person. My company does this. Yeah. This big long email saying, are you available? And I get more often than not, I get a 1-sentence answer back saying, oh, yes, I did that with my last company or something like that. I was like, you're not exactly the outgoing social media person that I think I need. But like, it's the same. When you say about the ASO, hiring somebody for ASO, I'm thinking, yeah, that's like that. Oh, yeah, no, I can help you. Right? So, check references, like see numbers. So this was change it from melt calculator to silver, gold, platinum, palladium melt calculator. Is that better or worse? Matthew says, I think it's better. But see, like, I think it's worth making the change. See what it's like in like a week's time. Rizwan says, aloha, brother. Aloha, Rizwan. Sophia says, I could write Flutter app that would take me 2 months for both iOS and Android and a couple of weeks with Flutter. I'll roll the dice. Oh, Sophia. Well, the settings you did, I mean, the PC's laptop, tablet mic, camera, etc., all cost you how much approximately? The settings here? You're asking how much this setting cost me? I don't know. It's just over the years, I just pick stuff up. I bought this mic. Well, I bought a different Snowball microphone. 2012, 2013, something like that. It was like, and then it stopped working, so I bought a new one. And this was like, I guess, I'm thinking 60 to 80 pounds. I'm not quite sure, but again, it was like something accumulate over time. The computer, couple grand, but I've been using it since 2013. In the monitor, it's like just stuff you pick up over time. It wasn't like I bought a studio setup. Just every so often I get stuff. Now I do have a couple lights here, which you guys can't see. So I've got a light right here, a light right there, and I've got a ring light with the webcam. The webcam is a Logitech C920, which again I bought in 2011. No, I think it was 2010 I bought it. And I bought it so I could make videos, and it was like, it sat in a box. Well, no, it sat on my computer gathering dust for years because I was too afraid to make videos. And my first videos were done with this camera that I'm using right now. But yeah, I mean, it's, it wasn't like I went out and bought like a whole studio and stuff like that. It's just over time, you just pick stuff up. Like, you're thinking, and when you're doing videos every day, which I was for a while, then after a while you're thinking, I really need a more reliable camera. I know camera that would always break down, which is around here somewhere. And so I got a new camera, and then you get stuff over time. And one of the things there's nothing, you guys probably all know, I think every guy knows what this is like, right? Where you buy something because you fully intend to use it, and then you don't, and then it sits there, gathering dust, and it's like mocking you, right? For me, it was this microphone for a long time. It was this camera for a long time, right? And that was one thing. I thought, if I get something new, I'm going to force myself to do something with it, to produce something. So then that way, at least, I won't have that initial pangs of guilt. Let's see. Question 3. Why was it okay? So knowledge reader. Why was this one not a numbered question, and why was this one a numbered question? If I updated app and don't retain the old app bundle, so what it means? Old app version will not work with the new devices, which is not installed. No, I mean, the only reason you should retain an old app bundle is if your minimum, your minimum SDK is. So like if your previous version supported Android SDK, 11 to 16, and then you had like some new libraries where you have a new SDK, like say Facebook. I had to do this with Facebook, right? When I put Facebook ads into my app, I didn't want to not support the lower versions of the of Android. Even though if you look at like the market share, you don't really have to worry about it so much. But at the time, it was like I still wanted to have that, so I would have the 2 versions of the APK. So I would still have that old bundle, but there's no reason to have 2 of them on, if they have the same user base. So Rizwan says, I work as a React Native dev for like 4 years now. Wow. The quality of ad hoc apps rendered when released, I mean, they are good enough to go with head-to-head with native. Thoughts? Yeah, I think non-native applications get a bad rap because there's so many bad ones. Like PhoneGap. I remember back in the old days, PhoneGap was the thing before. I mean, before it became Cordova, it was PhoneGap. And everyone talked about how terrible it was. It was laggy and everything like that. But there was like, also, there's some people who were able to make it work, but it depends. Like if you had long lists or something like that, you're going to have lag. But yeah, I think it really depends. If you were doing a game and you had to have a high frame rate, then that's one thing. But a lot of form-based applications, yeah, I don't think you need that. Don't think you need native, but Spanish bubble bath sounds kinky. Yeah, it was. It was like this pornographic thing. Just don't even check it out. It was adult content apps, because I'm kind of sleazy like that. Sophia says, do you think that your recent issues with push notifications would have been any easier with Flutter? Touché. No, I do not. It was in Xamarin. It was in Xamarin using Notification Hub through Azure. But no, you're right. Yeah, when you have something like that and the documentation is not quite up to date. Point taken. Now let me choose question 4. Tell me which one is good. Using SQLite database in an app when using user, or when user install it and you download data to make SQLite is as good. It depends on how much data you have. Like if you have like a lot of data, like a dictionary or something like that, you should probably include it in the app. Now the problem is if it's updatable, you have to put it in the resource directory so it's compiled in the bundle of the application, and immediately as the app is installed, move it into the documents directory or someplace that's writable. That way, so like for me, I'll have like a table saying last update, or yeah, I have a settings table where one of the fields is last update, or it depends on how the mood strikes me. Sometimes it'll be like a table with one record in it saying the last updated date, or I'll put it in system memory. It depends on, but anyway, that's the thing. So like when the application opens, it will actually say when was the last time it was updated, and we'll send that updated date to the server, and that way the server can say give me any of the changes, any whatever creations, inserts, updates, or deletes, and send those back down to the client, and that way that application, that local database gets updated. Now, if I were to do that with a giant data set, then that first install would be huge. That's why I always take it and include the data inside the database, include the SQLite database inside the application first, and then when it installs, then move it into documents directory. That way it can pick up. So like we'll have, and I've done this a lot actually. This is like a common thing. So we'll have it where if I release a new version, then I'll just take the updated application so that it's it's always like the date of the database is always dependent on the previous, whatever, the last time it was updated, if that makes sense. Knowledge said, looking nice, man. Thanks. Thank you. Let's see. Rodriguez says, in those cases, maybe hire a dev to update the plugin and contribute back to the thing, and be thankful you don't have to pay for the whole development. That's true. I talk about Cordova components that are no longer updated. Butha says, if I use my phone as a test device, does Google know I'm using it as a test device? I think they will know if you, because you'll have like, so we're talking about Google. No, they won't. That's why you have to put add test device. So like for ads, you have to put add test device in your code, right? They won't know it's, if you're using a simulator, they will. Like if you ever notice if you do Admob in an iOS simulator or an Android simulator, is that to an Android? It will give you test ads just out of the box. But I don't use the Android simulator very often. I use, or the emulator, I use Genymotion, which is when I'm using simulating, which that looks a little bit more like the native one, like it doesn't identify it. But no, that's why you have to put the add test device in it. But if you do have if they have too many like accidental clicks, I mean, it's just things will flag up. You'll have way more impressions on one device, and that's what looks suspicious. That's why you need to add that test device on there. Here we go. Fist007 is here. He says Xamarin is doing a really good job keeping with the latest features. Yeah, it's Microsoft behind it, so you kind of expect that level of quality. Yeah, Xamarin. So I'm using Xamarin Forms, and there's certain things that I just think are, some things I like, and there's some things I just think are just overly complicated. Like I just want to draw a shape. Like I just want to do shapes and not use Skia Sharp or some other imported library, have some ridiculous code behind, or I just want to have a shape on the thing, or I don't want to create an image. I want a dynamic shape, and that's something that I find difficult to do in Xamarin. But I mean, there's a lot of, I mean, it's not a common thing. Okay, like an example, I wanted to have a speech bubble in the app. So a rounded rectangle and a little triangle. The little triangle I couldn't do, like for some reason that's like, so difficult to do. And the reason I want to do it in code rather than do it in an image is I want it to stretch and keep resolution on the different screen sizes, so if it's a tablet or a phone, and also want to be able to change the color dynamically if I want to. But yeah, that was just one of the little things that I have trouble with, and you might tell me that that's possible. So, question 5: is it good to include a banner ad in Recycler and view after 5th or 6th item, or even after the 10th item? I don't know. Somebody else will have to answer that one. I'm not quite sure the answer to that one. Fist007 says, I'm not into sports whatsoever. You know, you can't all be jocks like me. I know you guys all look at me and think, you know, he was probably the captain of the football team, but you know, you'd be surprised. I've never really been much into sports. I watch baseball. That's it. I've never been into American football. Even living in England for the last 22 years, I haven't really got into any sports. I think in baseball, I'm a spectator. If there's one sport I like to play, it's basketball, but I haven't done it in years. But it was in the Army. We used to play basketball a lot. So I'm not really a sports guy either. But when I was in school, I was on the newspaper staff. That was my extracurricular activity. I was, you know, because I'm just that cool and jockish. Question 6: in one activity, is it legal to have a banner and an interstitial ad? I think so. Should be. I mean, no, actually, no, because the interstitial would cover the whole thing. I don't see any reason that you would. In one activity, yeah, I think so, because the interstitial covers the activity completely. You're not displaying them both at the same time. I'm working on a fitness app, and by the way, if anybody knows that to be any contradictory information, let me know. This is my guess. I'm pretty sure it's okay. Akshay says, I'm working on a fitness app in Flutter. Would love for you to review it in the future. Your transparent revenue video pushed me out of my comfort zone, man. Cool. Definitely we have a look at it. Again, like I'm not an expert on anything. I just have a bit of experience. This is one of the things that I have to keep reminding you guys of. Fist007, it's still sunny outside. Huh? The summer is almost here. It's a beautiful day today. I've been in meetings all day, but I did go for a quick walk before the live stream. Flutter is like native though, like Unity apps. Yeah, Unity is Unity is one I worry about Unity too, because that's on top of Mono, isn't it? Is Unity based on Mono? This is where you guys get because you could do native applications, or you do native games too if you write your own game loop and everything. Let's see. Alan Watson says, is that right? Am I close? AW says, does rating and reviews help in the app rate? Yes, because I'm getting decent amount of downloads from my Nariso shopping app. Yeah, definitely. So I did a video about this years ago where I was getting all these keyword rankings for things that weren't in my description, weren't anything, but people had mentioned them in the reviews. So that was like on the Google Play side. So yeah, definitely helps. Actually says 60. Is that from? Thank you very much. Pair character punching the air with fist and bump. Oh, this is something I should be looking at the Android side. Cool. Thank you very much. I think I'm looking at on the Ecamm Live. Question 7: is user staying long on an activity? Does it mean spending about 5 minutes on one activity? So which ad is best to show here? How many times? If you're staying on one activity and you don't have a transition between them, you should be sticking with banners or native ads, because interstitial should only be done with the transition from one scene to another, or like a nice place, because you don't want it to be popping up when they're it might reinforce accidental clicks. If Apple's Cornfolk says, if Apple stops accepting Flutter apps. I'll rewrite the apps, but until that happens, I'll rather roll the dice and take a huge time saving, which I get with Flutter. I think I agree with that. I think it's because I've always been a cross-platform guy, and I take what Sophia says about doing it in native is better, but I've always thought it would just take longer to do it that way. And because I'm thinking, back in the because I'm old. So when I think of two separate code bases, I still think Java and Objective C, they're so different from each other. And I don't know very much about Kotlin, so maybe it's not such a big deal to have two different code bases going. But see, Butha says, Eric, do you use smart banners? And if you do, how well do you implement them in your apps? Like, what size do you set aside for smart banners? Smart banners are the ones that change. I mean, yeah, I think I do use smart banners but aren't smart banners the one that adjust based on the width of the phone? That was but yeah, I do. But MoSpeak was spearheaded by the MySQL developer, and it was cross-platform for iOS, Android, and Windows Mobile. It tanked big time, and the open source community dropped it just as fast. Yeah, there's been a lot of cross-platform frameworks that haven't taken off, but Flutter's one where I see a lot of developers using it. So hopefully it's something that people keep up with. Of course, Ionic is one where we're not seeing very much of that so much anymore too. It seems to be kind of, maybe it's just because the circle, maybe it's there might be some like community of Ionic developers who are like, I don't even know any native developers, but I think I'm meeting less and less of them. Ionic developers rather. Cortefox says the hard stuff's already written in native code anyways. I'll just copy my plugins over to a native project, and if I have a C code, that will still work. Not a big risk at all. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you can still sign it and release it. I mean, that's so yeah, that's one thing. If you have an app written in one language and then you deploy it in another language, as long as it's signed with the same certificate, you should be fine. The only thing is if you have stuff in local storage and you want to make sure that you can still get to it, whatever method that is, unless you just get them to just log in again, which do that. AW, can you give me feedback on for Nurcio Love Shopping app again on the App Store? Oh, App Store. Ooh, I don't have my iPad plugged in. See, let's go with let's go. I'm just gonna Nuriso. Sorry, Nuriso. I'm gonna share my screen here in a second. Don't worry. Nuriso. Here we go. So I'm going to be looking at this in the Chrome browser here as opposed to on the App Store because I didn't think to plug my iPad in. Here we go. It's loading. Just loading. Okay. Oh, okay. So seek, find, enjoy. Oh, nice. How's it? So, AW, how's it doing in terms of like downloads and stuff? You got 1 5-star review. God, my computer's really laggy when I do the screen share. My infrequent mild sexual content and nudity. Wow. Cool. It looks really good. I mean, I guess my question would be how's it doing in terms of downloads? I don't really have a lot to say about it. How is Nuriso cost effective? Nuriso links to shoppers to suppliers. Because it looks a bit like Wish, which does really well. That's the app I use a lot is Wish, which is pretty cool. So, that looks cool. I mean, anybody else have anything they want to say about that? I can't think of anything to. And also, my computer's being a bit laggy for some reason. So, All right, Fist 007 says I definitely can relate to the pull-ups unembarrassment at the gym. The pull-ups embarrassment at the gym. Yeah, there's a lot of things like, because I've gotten to the point when I first started going to the gym a couple years ago, I was really like just felt like they could all see that I didn't belong there, but nobody cares. Like nobody cares what you're doing. But when I do the pull-ups, that's the thing. It's like, yeah, you're just trying to so put on a bit of muscle, everything, and which is good. But then you go do the pull-ups, it's like. You lift weights. Yeah, I'm just lifting these weights. Oh, lift these weights, right? And then you go to the pull-ups. I think they're the least flattering thing, with the exception of burpees. I think burpees is the one thing that I also hate doing. They're not. You jump up in the air, your shirt rides up, you do this thing, and you just like so some sort of some sort of wounded animal. Yo Eric, yo Court Funk. Have you ever considered making apps for things like hairdressers, restaurants, and other services, and rent out infrastructure to them? Yeah, I have thought about doing that. I did think about doing something like that, but you know what? There's like Appy Pie and all that. There's a lot of stuff out there like that. But yeah, I have thought about doing something, because you could just reach out to them, say, do you want your own app on the App Store? But yeah, I mean, you probably get code from. Okay, you could probably get code from like Code Canyon and do that too, because there's a lot of those templates are out there. Mostwink has like 200 stars on GitHub. Flutter has 90,000, I think. It's not really comparable. Leo Fonseca or Leandro. You know what? You throw me off. It's just like no short and long form. I'm watching on Android and typing on Windows. All right, okay, there we go. I knew it was the same guy. I'm gonna have two names. All right, because I do. Sometimes I'll comment as Overpass. Sometimes I'll comment as Eric. Let's all do websites and just leave the story. You know what? Let's just all go back to web. Let's all go back to web. What were we thinking? Sneaky. In each of my apps activities, I include one ad. I mean, 7 activities and 7 ads. Is that good? Yeah, I think it all depends on the user experience, right? It's difficult to say. Test your skills, developer name. So let's have a look at this. But I'm going to have to get going here in a minute because I'm getting hungry. And it is going to be oven pizza tonight. So tonight, so the company that I'm working with, they're having a pub quiz tonight, like an online pub quiz in a couple hours. So it's going to be fun. I'm actually looking forward to that. So, although not much of a quiz guy, but it'll be fun. So here we go. Test your skills. Da, 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 da. Oh, here we go. Oh, you're second. That's pretty good. So I'll share my screen. All right, test your skills, play, win daily, quiz helper. So we've got 117 reviews. That doesn't look too bad. Test your skills. Cool. I see my screen keeps freezing up. Again, I think I mean you have all the screenshots here, which I think look good, but I mean you could put some annotated screenshots in there just to say a bit more about what it does, but yeah, I don't have too much to say about that one. Again, like it depends on what you're searching for. So if I was going to say daily quiz, if I was going to search for a daily quiz on the Play Store, what does the rest of the icons around look like, and how does yours stand out? Would be a question I would ask. Again, I'm not a I'm an app developer, right? It's always funny when somebody calls up and says, "Will you do the ASO for my app?" So I said, well, I'm an app developer. Yeah. So, but this is just my opinions. So, it's taking so long to load. I can't even look at the icons. So yeah, I mean, I think it's Yeah, the quiz app, the quiz thing is pretty pretty crowded. Sophia says, another great podcast, Eric. Have a great weekend. Take care of that cough. It's not really. It's just because I'm talking. I'm not. It's not like a cough. Right, nobody call whatever. C920 is a great investment. It's good. It's a good camera. Yeah, I've had it for years. It's like, yeah. Hey, Eric, you should try having a guest on the stream. You probably help your channel grow faster as well. Yeah, I should, because it would be easy to do. It's, you know what the only thing is, like, just the same way I don't schedule it in far enough in advance. I need to arrange that with somebody. Get somebody on this channel with me. While I don't look at a glaring blank white walls on my big screen, it hurts my eyes. I just don't get vibes. Don't want to look at. Okay, well. It's not that bad. All right. Okay. So, all right. So, you guys don't like my flat. Is that right? Is that what you said? Is that what you're saying? Huh? Is you saying you don't like my place? How many apps do I need to before I make a business will consider hiring me? For a business will consider hiring me? I would say one. I mean, before they would consider it. It depends on the business. It depends on the app. Like, if you have one app and it's exactly what they're looking for, then you'll be better off than if you have 100 apps and they're like, you're a game developer and they have a bunch of apps and they're looking for something else. You are showing that your pop-up comment every person one by one. How was it? Which software are you using for this? I'm using Ecamm Live, which is a live streaming software. And Butha says, my developer name is Samson Mugua. I'm going to search it on my apps on the last page. One is biology notes and Butha Samson. So I'll have a quick look at that. But again, I'm going to have to get going here in a minute. But I always try to answer all the questions. I mean, a lot of times the answer is, I don't know. But, and I know that's not going to be sustainable. Like if we ever get like, if we ever get like a, oh, by the way, if you haven't smashed the like button, smash the like button. But we have, like, if we ever get like a lot of sorry, oh, and with Samson. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen here. So yeah, I know it wouldn't be sustainable if we ever had like lots of people on live stream, but this is, yeah, it's a nice number. But I'm gonna have to get to the bottom of this question so that we can so I can eat and get ready for the quiz. For some reason, it's not coming up on my. Oh, because I'm doing just something. I'm sorry. So, Mbutha, we're gonna have a look at this next week. I'm just gonna. For some reason, my computer's just really slowed down. Here we go. Yeah, Leo says it depends on what they're. Leo says depending on what they're hiring you for. Yeah, I agree with that. Ron Deere says, question: are you using Google App Signing? No, I still use the AP. I still use the key signing. I'm a beginner and I made a simple app and manually signed it. It was a confusing process. Can I just use Google to sign it for me, or not deal with the alias stuff? I do the alias stuff, right? I always think, because if I'm going to sign it, well, again, this might not even be an issue, but my fear was that if I put it to like Amazon or Huawei and it's signed by Google, then I'll have some sort of, it would mess up my process. But yeah, I mean, once you do it, once you sign it, like I have an Evernote file with the signing process, which is like, what is it? It's the compile for production, and then it's the key signing, and then it's the zipping, and then and then you have the APK or whatever. Yeah, that's right. It's jar sign, and then the zip thing. Sorry. Matthew says, I was working on a new app. One API calls. Okay, why am I okay? One API call works fine. Other returns object reference not set to the instance of an object. That would, what I would do is I would call that API. If it's a get command, put it in a browser. If the object reference not set to an instance of an object, then it's a problem on the server. If not, it's a problem in your code. I mean, it's. Roman says, Eric, you have a web page / blog. Can you compare traffic / page of your view of your traffic from YouTube? How can it affect your app downloads? I don't know. I don't know if the YouTube. I think I get more views on. I'm pretty sure I get more views on YouTube than I do on my blog. I don't update my blog a lot at all, so it's not very often I do it. So, but yeah, Roman. I'm not quite sure. Like again, so I don't know if you talk about. So I have like my Overpass blog, which is a lot of it lately is just the over. So and I used to write on it 2 or 3 times a week in the early days, and then I got a writer, so she was writing 5 days a week on it, and then it was just sort of like never really did much. So and then we hooked up the feed from the videos, the YouTube videos, so the daily YouTube videos were going there. So the blog on the Overpass site, a lot of it is just the same as the YouTube channels, the videos. But I also have a personal blog which I started back in 2003 or something like that. And we just write stuff on. I don't think I've updated it since I think 2018. I think is the last time I wrote anything on it. And I don't think that gets really much traffic at all. Right? I used to get some, but it's like, and I don't have any ads on it, so it doesn't really make any revenue. And it doesn't. I think it has a link to Overpass site, but mainly what I do is the videos now. So. Although I'm trying to get better at Instagram. Instagram is something I think I've had like 480 followers on Instagram and on Overpass apps, and I try to put more content out there and whatever. It's not going up, not going down. So it's one of those things. I should probably try to promote that a bit better on the channel. And Butha says, is it wrong to access your developer console via Tor browser, because it hides your IP address? I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, if it renders, I would say it's probably fine. I have people have stopped reviewing my melt calculator. Oh, because you changed the name. Well, that would change. Check the downloads. If the downloads go down, switch back. It's an experiment after all. Q8, if you want to pay someone win $10. So which is the best way to do that? So you talk about like having a quiz, like a game where people could win actual cash. I don't know. I've had clients ask me that all the time, and I think the difficulty would be the international nature of the application. So this is something I've never actually done myself. I mean, other people may have. Matthew says, is there a way to encourage reviews besides putting a review button at the start of the app? I don't want to bug users with a review pop-up, though. Yeah, you don't have to put it at the start of the app. You can put it somewhere else. I mean, you could put it other places throughout the application. Like if it's a game, if they do really well, that would be a good place to do it. But yeah, it doesn't have to be at the start of the app. Another reason to use Flutter, struck a nerve. Another reason to use Flutter is that most apps fail. So why not take the time saving up front and rewrite a couple of successes? Yeah, I agree with that. There's something to be said about the minimum viable product and getting something out there. Because you could always rewrite it. Matthew Creek said, how hard is it to make a shopping app? I think most of it would be the API stuff, I would imagine. Biswajit, hey, how's it going? AW says, sorry if I'm going through these very quickly. You can tell when I'm starting to get hungry because I sound like I'm, do we get $5,000? We get $3,000. Sold! Because I'm talking a bit faster. So, thanks for the feedback. I think, where'd I go? Thanks for the feedback. I think you searched my app in the U.S. store. I got more reviews in the U.K. Yeah, that's the thing in the Apple store. Also, yes, I'm getting good numbers of downloads as of right now, just experimenting. Well, nicely done. Core Funk says, I'm not much of a quiz guy, but I'm a heavy drinker. I know. I once went to a pub and they started playing dominoes, and I was like, huh, why are we doing this thing? I set my app to show an average of 1 full screen ad per user. Yeah, I mean, you might be able to increase that a bit. I mean, again, it's all per use. Yeah. You might find that if you increase it, you won't get any complaints. But it's a fine line. You got to find where that line is. per use per day. We should use PayPal. Oh yeah, PayPal. How would you search an app that provides programming news? How would I search it? Like, how would I search it in Google Play? Like, looking for an app that actually does that? I guess I would search for programming news app. Or do you mean like you need an API that like you have an app that you were actually displaying that? Because they could get like some RSS feeds or something like that. Alavis100 says for the cache, have them contact your support through email and send through PayPal. Actually, that makes sense. Okay, so that's the end. That's the last. Rares Cruciate says. Okay, yeah. So yeah, what I would do for that, Rares, and again, I think if somebody has an RSS feed, and you just had a link to their news, so like if it clicked on it, and actually went to their pages, I think that you could have like a, I did this once before when I was looking for news on language learning for the apps. I wanted to have like a language learning section on my application. So what I did was I found a RSS directory, and then I found all these RSS feeds from relevant blogs. Because really what you're doing, you're not stealing the information from them, you're displaying links to their page. So but if anything, you're helping these blogs out. So if you were to have something like that, and you had like just like I would say like a database table with RSS feeds, and then you could have something like, you know, a cron job that every so often just goes through, and well, you could either, it would probably be best if you like updated like a local table with these articles in it, and then that way you could say when somebody goes into the application, they can see the recent articles and click on it. And then you could, if you were even cooler about it, well, I mean, you would probably want to have that click through, not just be click straight to their site, but click through something where you track that number, so you can see what the most popular articles were, and then you could show those to users too. I think that would be the way that I would do it. So, Mr. White, where'd you come from? Thanks for the live. Hey, no problem. Thank you silently and wait. Hey, everybody, thanks for joining. Anyways, I hope that was okay. Everybody, thanks for joining the live stream this week. It really means a lot to me that you guys are here. It means a lot to me that you guys smash the like button, all the great questions and everything like that. I hope you guys stay safe. Have a great week, and have a great weekend. I'm gonna have pizza, and I'm gonna play pub quiz in about an hour's time. So have a great weekend. I'll talk to you guys. We'll do the live stream again next week, and I'll do the Overpass insights throughout the week. Talk to you guys later. Bye.